Hello everyone and welcome back to the SteemTrail Gaming News. Today is the 9th June of 2018. My name is Kralizec and I will be your host for the evening. Today we are going to take a look at two stories. First, we're going to take a look at the United States Federal Commission on School Safety and their look on video games. And secondly, we're going to take a look at a bit of a clarification from Valve on their Steam publishing policies. But let's begin with the controversial story of today, which concerns the United States Commission on School Safety and the fact that they will be taking a look at video games. And, well, this is pretty much all started with all the cases of gun violence that have been happening in the United States for, well, quite some time now. And I think we can all very easily agree that that's just a bad thing and it would be perfect if it wasn't happening. That's just one self-obvious statement. But on the other hand, at least at the moment, when it comes to the politics, there seems to be two camps of opinions. The first camp, the right wing, seems to be blaming video games and violent media, with this all starting with a statement by Donald Trump saying that he blames the sick violent media and the sick games. On the other hand, we have the left, which blames the fact that guns are so readily available in the United States and that laws should be implemented that would make it harder for guns to be owned or purchased in the United States. So let's start addressing what I think is the easier argument to address here, which is the left wing's argument. Yes, it is pretty obvious the fact that guns are so readily available in the United States. That is the cause of gun violence in, well, not only the schools, in general in the United States. On the other hand, go anywhere else in the world and you will very easily see that violence happens everywhere. It's just not gun violence. The problem is that even if you introduce laws that would actually make it harder to purchase guns, you would need a permit, you would need a bigger background check than what is already at place in the vast majority of places in the United States, it would not really stop anybody from acquiring a gun, as the number of them circulating the populace in the United States is just too high. And that means that if you really, really want to get a gun, you will be able to, even if it is through illegal means. Thus, really, I don't think introducing new gun laws would help that much, as the left seems to think. Now let's take a look at the right wing's case, which they seem to argue that it is the fault of the media, more specifically violent movies, series, and especially violent video games, that seem to be to blame. And here, again, the argument is pretty easy to make for violent video games. Multiple psychological studies have shown that playing games that are violent does not make you more aggressive. Some even show it actually makes you less aggressive, because you have a place where you can vent your aggression. So, what exactly is this committee hoping to achieve? I really have no idea. I think with the fact that the right wing is currently in power, they are much more likely to try to blame the video games and introduce some, I don't know, restrictions on to whom should violent games be sold. I think this should be the parents' choice. I think parents should have the say in what games their children are playing. If you think your child is mature enough to handle playing Grand Theft Auto at 15, well, that is your decision. The government should not be imposing their own views on you. And in the end, it won't do shit. Really, it won't, because the children will get the ways either way. The games either way. Maybe they will not be able to buy them through Steam. They will have to pirate them, but piracy will still be a thing, even today, tomorrow, in 20 years, in 50 years. As long as there is an incentive to not to pay, people will be pirating content. And it doesn't matter whether it's music, movies, TV series, or games. So if the children will not be able to buy the games or have the parents to buy the game for them, well, they will just pirate it and play a pirated version. Or go to a friend's place who is more brave and pirated it. So this will not solve anything. And we need to understand, and any sort of political restrictions on games can be a bad thing and will be a bad thing. The same way you can't censor books, you can't censor movies, because it is a bad thing. It introduces censorship into the system, and I can tell you, as I come from a country who lived under a censorous regime for decades, it's a bad thing for the populace, and it's still affecting the Czech populace, even though it's been more than 25 years since we last have had the communist regime here. It's still deep inside the mindset of people. And even today's children are still affected by this because, well, they're being brought up by parents who lived under this. And the way of thinking just gets passed on. Usually, I think it's said that it takes 3 generations to change a view set on anything in particular, and that is very dangerous. Introducing a system that could have repercussions that last for decades is so dangerous, and I really urge everybody to fight against any form of censorship, because being able to say what you freely think is one of the basic tenets of our Western civilization. And on a similar subject, concerning censorship, but this time with actually, I think, better news, we will continue to take a look on the Steam publishing policies. So we talked about this, I think like it was actually yesterday or maybe 2 days ago, about the fact that Steam or Valve decided not to be censorious. And I praise them for this. I really agree with the fact that it is the consumer's choice what he exactly wants to place, and it is the developer's choice in what exactly he wants to create. But there was sort of that little statement that I was iffy on, and that was the fact that they will not allow trolley games on Steam. And they have made a little bit of a clarification saying what exactly they will consider trolley games. So, more specifically, it was Doug Lombardi who said VentureBeat that they dropped the game last week, and most likely in accord to this new policy, because it was a troll designed to do nothing but generate outrage and cause conflict through its existence. And while this certainly still isn't a super specific statement, it still leaves plenty of space for interpretation. At least it's better than just saying trolling games, because what exactly is trolling? Trolling is an art, as you people will know, but trying to have it as an official policy can again be dangerous because, well, it's highly subjective what trolling is. So it seems that Steam has already decided to go along with this new policy, as they removed 5 games from a studio known Bunch of Dudes. The games in question were Suicide Simulator, ISIS Simulator, 8 Simulator, Acid Flip Simulator, and Triggering Simulator. And why my own personal view is that these games should have been allowed to stay on the platform, as again, I am a proponent of complete free speech, that everybody has the right to say whatever they want, no matter how hateful, how opinionated, how controversial it is. I guess I can understand. It's pretty obvious that a game that's called AIDS Simulator isn't really meant to do much else than just cause controversy. The same for Suicide Simulator or Triggering Simulator. These games were purely meant to create a controversy and to only generate profit because people are buying them because they want to know more about the controversy. They weren't good games. They weren't talking about any political issues. They weren't making any sort of statement. They were there just to cause outrage. And as Steam is a private platform, I do again agree that they do have the right to do whatever they want with their platform. On the other hand, they are the largest platform, thus we should be very public whenever they try to do something censorious. And while this, I would still consider this censorship, it's not something I will be outraged over. It's something I can say, okay, I can see their point, and it's their platform, thus they can go on with their point. And with that being said, that's going to be it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please consider giving us a thumbs up here on YouTube and subscribing to the channel. If you're watching on Steemit, maybe you want to give us an upvote and follow the blog. Either way, be sure to leave a comment and be sure to tune in tomorrow, for tomorrow is the day of the weekly podcast with me and Tygergamer. See you guys later with more gaming content.